Good day, everyone. Ali Safi here from Safi Financial Network. Today is August 23rd, 2024. Here is another weekly edition. All right, so we just had a Jackson Hole Symposium Powell speech today and had a very, very short speech, I believe. And no surprise. He was saying that economy is kind of slowing down, inflation is getting under control, and he's kind of like convinced that for a rate cut coming in September. He didn't say that explicitly, but like all the verbiage was kind of like a dovish, and everyone is kind of like expecting Powell is gonna just bring the rate. I mean, like a Federal Reserve is gonna bring the rate down potentially in September time frame. So market kind of like expecting that one. So it was kind of like optimism came to the market as well. But a pretty wacky day, I should say. S&P 500, Nasdaq, and also Dow Jones. The beneficiary was Russell 2000 and also banks, regional banks, especially those small cap companies, which they are beneficiary of the lower rate. So that's why Russell 2000 had a marvelous move to the upside. And also, I should say some industrial names actually did very well and banks as well. So let's get to the chart, see what chart tells us and what's going to be your scenario for next week or even after that. So here is S&P 500 weekly chart. And as you see here, we just got a pretty nice new closing all-time high. Not new all-time high, but we just close above this July top and also this previous candle as well. So right now we should say new closing all-time high for S&P 500 just happened today. And this is absolutely bullish reading for the market. So market just got a very nice hammer here on a weekly chart. If you just saw my 2 weeks, like last 2 weeks, I was saying about this bounce, but to be honest, this is beyond my expectation. I thought that this bounce is going to be shallow, kind of like getting to this area and then getting back to the downside. But I was wrong, obviously, and the market just then went back up nicely. So we kept our investment as is. We didn't nail it down because we didn't see some kind of like a scenario or signal that we can cut our investment. However, we just get into some short position to hedge our portfolio. So my subscribers, myself, we're just getting less than 2%, 3% of our portfolio in the put options. And I believe that those put options are going to print money potentially in early September. We'll finish those ones in nice positive gains. But as I said before, we need to be cautious. And everyone needs to be careful, especially when we are getting to the daily chart. So, based on the weekly chart, I should say nothing wrong with that. Market can even hit new all-time high potentially next week. That's going to be on the table right now because momentum is pretty strong. And whenever we get this type of momentum, we can get to new all-time high. But right now, I should say, based on the daily chart, we can see some kind of like a cool down or kind of like a scenario that we're getting sideways to down consolidation for a next rally. So here is daily chart. And as you see here, we just got a very nice stochastic bear momentum signal. IMI is heading up, which is not a bad signal, but look at the MACD, very oversold and slightly heading down. So these indicators actually are kind of like telling us it's not a must, we can have a signal to the downside. However, price action doesn't give us anything. So the most important part is going to be price action. So this is nice consolidation here. And this is kind of like the scenario that I'm looking at. If we get kind of like a bear reversal, and then if we get a follow through on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, then we can see the trend is going to cool down a bit, potentially to here to 54 to 54.96. So not this one, 54 to 54.96. So this is the area that I'm just looking at for the market. So if we get down here, we can see some kind of like a buying opportunity. And I'm waiting for this one because if we get to this buying opportunity, consolidation, we can have another rally potentially in October. Short term, we can get a rally, But after that, I should say everyone needs to be careful about the cycle that they have, second half of October, early November. So that's going to be very danger zone for the stock market, for lots of commodities even as well. So, but right now, I should say we should just be careful about the market right now. I'm not going to deploy money onto this. I'm just waiting for kind of like the scenario that I was talking about, potentially a cool down here to this area, and then if we see a reversal, we can see some kind of like a bounce again back up to potential. Then it's going to be pretty close to new all-time high. So we will see how it goes, but we are going to get a choppy market, I should say, down the road in next 2-3 weeks. Moving on to Nasdaq, which was kind of like a laggard compared to S&P 500. So Nasdaq is just getting into 19,700 area, and also 19,900. It's kind of like a touch, and just they're getting down as well. So this is kind of like the rejection from the top. And I should say lots of big techies are showing a sick kind of like a chart, especially Microsoft. We will get to those ones as well. But when those charts are lagging, I'm not convinced that this rally is going to be a healthy rally. It's going to be kind of like a sector rotation to Russell 2000, and also to big tech, big value names like Dow Jones components. We will get to those ones as well. But based on the weekly chart of Nasdaq, I think we are kind of like a topped for Nasdaq, and we can see some kind of like a choppy consolidation, even downdraft to here. That would be kind of like the scenario that I'm looking at. So 18,000, 19,000 area, that's going to be the area that I'm just looking for Nasdaq based on the weekly chart. Daily chart, it just tells us that we are kind of like getting into a rolling top here. So we can't get like S&P 500, we went up to higher high, but Nasdaq tells us we are getting a lower high today, even with this rejection at the top. I know we are kind of like a green, nicely green over kind of like a 0.93% to the upside, which is not bad for a usual day. But when I say this, especially after yesterday big sell-off, Nasdaq can't engulf yesterday's sell-off, and it's just showing a lower high. So we will give Nasdaq benefit of doubt for now, but if Nasdaq goes below 19,400, then we can see a sell-off is going to initiate at potentially to low 19,000, even 18,900. That's going to be the scenario that I'm looking at for Nasdaq. Moving on to Dow Jones, which was marvelously going higher. Dow weekly chart, as you see here, we are kind of like a pretty close to the all-time high, and potentially Dow would be the next one, or first one, I should say, hitting new all-time high, especially when I see this nice indicator. When I see that RSI in a weekly chart is getting into overbought, pretty close, which momentum is getting hotter and hotter. And MACD is just showing us a nice signal. I know there are lots of divergence here, but we can see some kind of like a very nice rally to the upside before that divergence initiated the next wave of sell-off. Or I should say before that, Dow can go higher as well. And we should be dynamic, right? So we should be dynamic for the market. And this is kind of like an exhaustive consolidation. And based on last 3 weeks, I should say Dow is forming a very nice bullish setup to the upside, and we can get to 42,000 potentially next week, which is going to be 800 above the current level. If we go to daily chart, so here's the daily chart. We just broke already this trend line here, which I was thinking of like getting here and then getting back up, but it didn't happen. So Dow just hitting very nicely, pretty close to new all-time high. And if we get to 40,000, 42,000, we shouldn't be surprised at all. All right, moving on to gold, which was kind of like a positive today, pretty nicely, 1%, and it's forming a consolidation here. There is nothing wrong with chart, and I'm just waiting for a breakout for gold. So if you see gold is forming a pretty nice parabolic move to 2,700, even 2,600, so we shouldn't surprise at all. So this is a very nice reverse head and shoulder, nice consolidation here as well. it's just coiling off for a next breakout. So if we see this breakout is happening, we shouldn't be surprised at all next week or so. I should say precious metals are kind of like forming a very nice scenario for a bullish setup for the next 3 weeks. Moving on to silver, which nicely going higher today. Silver 3%, almost 2.89% to the upside. A good consolidation here. It's just forming, reacting to this level. I'm just looking for, to be honest, a dip, forming a higher low for a next fantastic move to the upside. So if that happens, that would be great buying opportunity, and everyone needs to pile on silver. We are having our silver mine here, and we keep our investment. And if it goes down here, we're going to accumulate more, because I know that when that is going higher, it's going to go higher very nicely. Moving on to crude, which was a pretty nice positive candle today. However, this is going to be a dead cat bounce, if you ask me. So crude can get higher to this area, which is 78. And 78 could be kind of like the scenario that we can see another sell signal. If we get back another time here, so how many times we are touching this level just in this screen? Even before that, we have lots of touches, but I'm not showing that. So this is going to be the fourth time within a lower high. So this is kind of like a lower high. This is a lower high. And if this one happens, this is going to be another lower high, which is hammering this area. So it's going to break nicely to 61 to 65 if we get back up here and getting back down. So look at that. So this is not a bullish pattern here, folks. This is a bearish pattern, and I'm just waiting for a breakdown to the downside. Moving on to individual names, starting with Bitcoin, nice breakout today, 5% to the upside, fantastic move. Congratulations for those subscribers that we are getting to IBIT when it was down here. So when it was down here, we are just getting to the IBIT and nicely going higher as well. This is a very nice scenario. And I'm just looking for 70,000 is coming down there. 69, 68 to 70,000 is coming. In case of breakout, which happens soon, I believe, we are getting to 92,000. Let me just pull this one here a bit, just having like a good setup here as well. So waiting for this one. Ethereum nicely moving higher as well. It didn't break out today, but it can break out next week or so, or even next few weeks. We can get to 3,100. But that is very strong resistance here. It can go all the way up to 36 to 3,800 after that. Moving on to the bond yield just heading down after Powell's speech today. So nice reverse, nice head and shoulder here in a smaller time frame. If you just want to see that, here is the shoulder, here's the head, and here's the right shoulder. So we are just challenging the neckline now, almost broken, but just waiting for that. If we get down here, we're gonna nicely getting to sub 4%, sorry, not sub 4% to the downside. Right, we are already below 4%, but it's gonna establish itself for a long time. Treasuries are nicely back up today as well after bond yield just crashed. I believe Treasury can easily go to 103, 104 very nicely. Moving on to VIX, which was hammered today, 9% to the downside. I believe VIX is in bottoming formation. We should just give it time. And after that, VIX can parabolically move higher as well when the stock market topped. Dixie coming down as well, 100 level. So this is kind of like the scenario that we were waiting for. We are getting to important pivot. I believe Dixie can break through this, getting to sub 100 level, which is scary for everyone. You know that when we are getting below 100, Dixie is going to be lower dollar, less valuable, and this is kind of like a recessionary indicator. I know when we're talking about recession, everyone's saying, what are you talking about? It's not going to happen tomorrow, but this is kind of like the indication that we need to know about beforehand. Moving on to a magma indicator. Magma indicator was kind of like a positive, but barely positive. So this means we had a fantastic rally today, but as I said, Nasdaq and big techies cannot move on nicely. So we're getting kind of like a sell signal from magma indicator, and this means the technology is in a weaker side. Apple just moving higher today at $2.31, 1%, but not a strong move. Amazon, just a bullish harami, but this is not a bullish harami that we want to see. This is a red candle. I know gapped up, but sellers took control. So this is kind of like, I should say, dead cat bounce prior the next sell-off. Meta nicely going higher early morning, but just came back down as well. So Meta, I believe this is kind of like the consolidation is going to fail. We can see some kind of like a support from 490 to 500. So if it gets down here, we should see some kind of like a sell-off in Nasdaq as well, and we're gonna see how it goes. Microsoft, this chart is sick, folks. This chart is very, very weak, and we can get down more in Microsoft. So when Microsoft is lagging, everyone needs to be concerned about the market overall. So I should say when Microsoft is weak, we should be kind of like a concern. Google, $1.82 up, not a bad session for Google, still lagging. Look at that, new all-time high here, and Google is just 30% down below. Netflix, after search gapped up, coming down and closed negative today. Tesla almost at 4.59% to the upside, but look at that. It didn't go above yesterday candle, just showing a nice lower high today. And if it goes down Monday, Tuesday, we can easily get below this pivot. So I believe that Tesla can engulf August pivot to the downside if market change tune to the downside. So Tesla is lagging for many charts, many different time frame. If you just see this chart is not as strong. We have like a lots of day, kind of like a very, very kind of like here's the new all-time high, 410, and right now we are kind of like a below here, 220. So we just kind of like a struggling here. So when I see this chart, Tesla can go lower before any move to the upside. Semiconductor, we just had a new move to the upside, nice bullish harami here. But yesterday, we just damaged the chart. So I believe that today, price action can follow through with another downdraft potential next week. SOX, the same pattern here. Taiwan Semiconductor, $4.84 up. AMD, again, the same setup here. So AMD is laggard as well. So this one can go down, I believe, to 130 to 140 before the next setup to the upside. NVIDIA, nice move to the upside, but it can't get above yesterday high. So 130 is kind of like a potential scenario for the top for NVIDIA. I'm just looking for, to be honest, to 106 to 112 for a next buying opportunity here. If we get here, so that's going to be very nice reverse head and shoulder pattern. Then I'm convinced that NVIDIA can hit to new all-time high. So we'll see how it goes with this if that happens. Moving on to Taiwan Semiconductor, $6.11 up. New closing all-time high today. Not a bad session for Texas Instrument. Lam Research, $11 up, but still lagging compared to the other ones. Nice bullish consolidation though, but I believe if it goes down, it can double test this low as well. Moving on to the XLF, new all-time high for banks. KBE actually going higher, lower high. KRE, fantastic surge to the upside, 5%. So that's why Dow Jones and Russell, actually Russell went all the way up to the upside. JP Morgan, nicely new all-time high today, $1.68. Goldman Sachs at 2%, 2.34% up, pretty close to new all-time high. Bank of America, nice surge as well. Wells Fargo, just going higher, but there are lots of resistance here within this area. So between 56 to 61 is very, very important. Moving on to gold miners. Actually, gold was pretty close to the all-time high, but gold miners actually didn't manage it. But another bad session. I still looking for a good search from them. GDXJ 92 cents up, AEM $1.32 up. Pretty good price action for AEM. Newmont as well. So it's just that going up as well. So Newmont can hit a 57.62, I believe, in the next search to the upside. Franco Nevada, laggard but positive candle today. Gold Barrick 26 cents up as well. So Gold Barrick is one of the best one. I believe it can just go higher. Moving on to the XLE, which is Energy Spider. Crude was up today nicely. This one is up as well, but this is kind of like a bounce. XOP, oil and gas exploration ETF. Look at the down trend channel here, just going up today as a dead cat bounce. Exxon's $8 up today. Not a bad session. Exxon can go higher, I believe, to 332 maximum scenario that they have, but it's going to be still lower high. And Chevron just optic today, nice jump, $1.50. Exxon and the Chevron here, just $1.89 up. Not a bad session for Chevron. It can go up to 150 maximum, potentially getting to 152, but I'm not sure after that. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I believe I covered everything. If you like this video, please smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and have a good one. See you on the chart. Bye-bye.